Welcome back to the SecureDynamics TechCast. I have with me, I'm trying to think how many times we've talked, at least a dozen times, with Mike Manrod, who is the CISO at Grand Canyon Education. Welcome back, Mike.
Thank you, Ashwin. Great to be here. Great to see you again.
So, talking about something that obviously is top of mind for many, if not all, CISOs on the planet is really the whole supply chain. And it started with SolarWinds, but clearly since then we've seen more cybersecurity vendors being subject to similar kinds of issues, right? So from a mindset perspective, right? Again, going back to I don't know 70s, 80s, you never get fired for buying IBM, then you never get fired for buying Cisco, and you always had these kind of these stalwarts that you could rely on. Are we coming to a point right now that no one is immune to these kinds of issues? And if so, how does a CISO kind of even deal with, hey, you need to have more than one player in pretty much every category?
It really is a rough topic right now because we've seen both through the downstream impact of solar winds. There have been multiple companies that have been breached, including companies that many other companies use, and then several independent breaches. And then I think we're going to see copycat attacks that try to replicate the attacker's successes of the SolarWinds attack, probably by lower tier actors that will strive for that. It's going to be tough. On one hand, we have to be prepared to be able to pivot to other technologies. When things like the SolarWinds attack hit, we have to scratch our heads like, do we put that back again? What level of certification makes us confident that the product is actually good to go and can really go into a production environment and be trusted? So sometimes we have to have runner-up products. Sometimes when the company in question is large, like Microsoft, like clearly most organizations can't replace Microsoft. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, how deep was the compromise? Are we okay accepting the risk, and how do we shore up that risk?
So talking about accepting that risk, right? Again, you mentioned. I mean, we start off with SolarWinds, but clearly since then we've seen. I mean, Mimecast and others. So the question is, as a CISO right now, right? I mean, clearly, let's say your risk posture was X pre SolarWinds, and since then it is Y, except how do you peg Y? I mean, do you have to go and query every single of your existing cybersecurity vendors? And if so, how deep do you go to understand their supply chain? Do you have to get them to sign on a digital piece of paper? So is it, I mean, how does risk assessment now change because of what happened?
So I think part of the changes will roll into risk assessment and risk management, and part of them will go to better response activities. On the risk management side, everybody's already talking about the right things, right? Better vendor attestation, better assessment, better discussions with vendors prior to making buying decisions, more teeth to security to say no to a vendor that there's questions or concerns about. But the problem, what's perplexing about SolarWinds is they went through the most rigorous certifications to make it into the toughest environments, and it still didn't catch it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the other half of the equation is we have to assume some things in our environment are going to be compromised, which many have assumed for a long time, but now it's gone from theoretical to very, very real for all of us. So our east-west visibility, our ability to have defense in depth, and our ability to both respond and then also even to threat hunt across our infrastructure at all times, it's never been more important.
So one final question. Again, there are CISOs from mid to large tier companies who have the talent, who technically even have the budget and the ability to influence thinking. But then when you start going lower tier, right, especially SMBs, K through 12, community colleges, um, I mean, they're probably equally at risk. And you can always argue saying, hey, is there enough for an attacker to go after them or not? But that aside, from a CISO's mindset perspective, they're faced with exactly the same challenges, but again, hamstrung when it comes to budget and talent. So any advice for those?
It's a really tough quandary depending on how small an organization you're talking about. And the problem is, yeah, okay, if you're small, you're not going to get that tier one attack that a large enterprise will get. But there's a whole lot of relatively effective things being exploited via bots. And that small to medium business still is very high risk, in particular for things like ransomware.
Yeah.
If you have a small dental office with, say, 25 employees and 2 or 3 dentists, or similar with a medical practice, that's a multi-million-dollar per year business that could be in jeopardy. They probably treat hundreds or thousands of people and have all that healthcare information that matters, yet clearly they can't have a full dedicated IT staff. So I really feel this is where there's an underserved but growing market for outsourced and SaaS products and solutions. I do hope that people continue to, on the entrepreneurial side, build business around serving these small markets, but in a way that's not taking advantage of them, but with good integrity, bringing the best solutions they can afford to bear.
Got it. Always great chatting with you, Mike. Good luck and talk to you soon.
Likewise, thanks, Ashwin.
Thank you.